this what you want? We can be slaves, or we can be Lycans!
Tessa, are you man or are you Lycan?
You know what? I am neither, but I will say that I am a fan of this movie.
You know what sucks is that they made us go see this movie at 10 o'clock in the morning on the day that it was
comes
released.
Out.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, what are they scared of? Because the movie wasn't terrible.
No, it wasn't. It was... Now, I'm going to say, I wasn't a huge fan of the first one. In fact, I fell asleep. I thought it was pretty boring. Even with Kate Beckinsale, who usually delivers.
Delivers that ass is what she delivers.
You can say it in your own way.
That's the hottest girl, man.
She's pretty nice on the eyes, yeah.
That I would dare say that is the hottest ass working in the industry. You laugh, but I'm telling you.
Well,
besides yours, okay? I'm not going to leave you out, okay?
Thanks.
Tessa ass is working pretty hard, too.
Well... I do what I do.
With your little nerdy ass with your little glasses on.
Hey, nerd girls are making a comeback. I'm proof of that. Thank you.
Hottest nerd ass working in the business.
Exactly.
So you weren't a big fan of the first one?
No, I thought it was pretty boring. I mean, I can't really tell you why. It just felt like it was dragging on and on, even with like these action sequences and like the slow mo and like, you know, everything that you see in a typical action movie, but it just wasn't working for me, and I actually fell asleep the first time I tried to watch it, and then I watched it the second time and was just kind of like, oh, okay.
I really didn't miss much.
Yeah, really. But the second one was actually really good. I will say that totally made up for the first one.
See, I feel just like you do.
Yeah.
First one, I was totally bored with.
Oh, yeah.
Second one, I said, this is stupid, but it's not boring.
It was entertaining.
Yeah, it was like it was like watching a 1 hour and a half long cutscene from a video game.
Oh, dude, I know. Yeah.
And I was okay with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of a ridiculous concept to begin with anyway, so you can't go in thinking this is going to be, you know, like the next Oscar-winning movie, but it was hella entertaining, you know? It was great.
I like the way hella.
Hella, yeah.
Man, so, in this one, now, this is, okay, the first one was called Underworld. The second one was called Underworld Evolution.
Yes.
And now the
Serious
third part,
business.
I know, Evolution.
It's
Say it with
science.
me. Go ahead.
Evolution.
There you go, girl.
Yeah.
That's high. Now, the third one in this trilogy is Underworld Rise of the Lycans. And Lycans, for all you ignorant people out there, isn't that like a moss or a vegetable or something?
No.
Because there were none in this movie. No, it's vampires. I'm sorry. It's
werewolves.
It's werewolves. Lycanthropy is what the science behind werewolves is.
Yeah.
And in this movie, we have why the werewolves rise.
Yes.
It's the name of the title.
Yes.
And all that comes out of a story that centers on the class system between the vampires and the werewolves. The vampires being the ruling class and the werewolves being the slaves. And in the middle of that, we get a story of forbidden love. That forbidden love being between the daughter of the lead vampire and the head werewolf slave. And that's what I liked about this movie. I think more than even those first two movies, more than the first one, this is the movie that has the most story in it.
Oh, absolutely.
And look, everybody loves a slave story because in this movie, pretty much the werewolves are black people. Like, I mean, they might as well, the werewolves might as well be out there picking cotton and have the vampires as masters because that's the way the system is in this world. The vampires are the elite.
Yes.
And the werewolves are slaves as well as protectors of their keep.
Right, yeah. Yeah, they're you know, whipped ridiculously.
See,
if
just
they
like black folks.
It is true. I mean, it's a stretch, but I can definitely see the resemblance. I mean, they're beaten to death essentially. Well, not to death because they're sort of a little bit immortal.
Immortal, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, they get their asses kicked if they act up, and you know,
get out of line.
Yeah.
Yeah, those vampires are ready to whoop up on that ass if those werewolves get out of line. I'm telling
seriously.
you, man, the slave master and the black folks out there, that's what it's like.
I see it.
Yeah, just
I'm with you on that.
I'm telling you, all that was missing was a werewolf going by eating some fried chicken or something. Okay, that's bad.
That is bad, yeah.
Okay, excuse me now. So in this, we have a lot of people returning who were in the previous movies. Among them, we have Michael Sheen.
Yeah.
And Michael Sheen is the leader of the werewolves, who is known as Lucian.
Yeah.
He was born. He can control his form. He can go from human to werewolf.
They forced him at a very young age to learn how to control it because they were sort of making him like the leader without saying that there was a leader, because they're supposed to be slaves. Slaves don't have leaders.
Well, they wanted him to hold all the other werewolves in check, and it's like, okay, we're gonna whoop your ass still,
right?
But, and we'll give you a little bit of respect, but you're still a slave. We just want you to be control of all these other werewolves. He was
kind of like the test to see if his form, so to speak, could even exist, if it could even be superior to humans or to vampires. I mean, he was kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it was like a science experiment.
Yeah,
like they picked him up, and it's funny because they have collars. They never explain it, but they have.
Yeah,
there's a scientific collar that can keep them from changing to werewolves. I think maybe it's because there's spikes on the collar.
Yeah, and if they change, then it'll kill them.
Yeah, it'll sink into their skin. So okay, we just solved that problem right there.
Loophole solved.
And also returning is I don't know, the gay ass leader of the vampires played by what?
He is not gay.
I'm just come on.
He do got some pretty eyes though.
I will
say that. Yeah.
Bill Nye, who we're talking about.
So love him.
Bill Nye the Science Guy. That's the same guy. Okay, this is a different. Okay, it's a different guy. All right. Bill Nye returns as Victor, the gay ass leader of the vampires. Come on, look at that dude. That brother got a robe down to his feet.
What? Okay, he wears sequins. By the way, what time? What's with the sequins back in like the underground medieval?
I know, because he looked like an old Ziggy Stardust walking around.
Totally.
He had those bright eyes. He had that slick back hair. He looked like David Boy.
Absolutely.
If David Boy was walking around the house in a gown.
In a vampire.
As a vampire, which I think David Boy is. So
it could be. I mean,
so Bill Nye is cool. You can put Bill Nye in a high school play and he will act his ass off.
Hell yeah.
That motherfucker pronunciates.
Yes.
I would love to have him go to McDonald's with me and order something as this vampire. Can you see him at the counter?
Oh man,
I would like a Big Mac, order of fries, and a large Coke. And you're like, come on, man, will you hurry up and get on that line?
How dare you raise your hand to me?
I do not want this.
I am your father.
Oh, you can't forget about the runway walk. He'd have to turn and pose. Do his little vampire thing.
Oh, every moment he was.
Oh man,
strike a pose. Yeah, he was
voguing it, man.
Through that whole movie.
Yes.
Bill Nye, and you've seen Bill Nye before, people. You've seen him in Shaun of the Dead.
Yep, Hot Fuzz.
Love Actually. Yeah,
tons of stuff.
Great actor.
Yeah.
And speaking of great actors, we just mentioned Michael Sheen. Michael Sheen. Now
David Frost.
Yes, people, you're looking at this hairy ass man in this movie.
It's crazy.
He looks like a caveman with shit all over his face.
Yes, he does.
But he's also, as you said,
he's David Frost and Frost Nixon.
Yes,
yeah.
in two different roles. He's a totally different person.
Oh yeah.
In this movie, and not returning. Excuse me, damn, I just burped. Not returning in this movie is Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah.
But we got an ass that's just as good.
It is true. She's pretty hot. She's smoking.
Yeah, we have Rona Mitra.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people remember her from
Doomsday.
Yes. Doomsday is that
ridiculous
Road Warrior, Escape from New York ripoff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
and not in a good way.
No,
absolutely
it was not. But she looks just like Kate Beckinsale.
She really does.
When I saw that movie, I was like, "That's Kate Beckinsale." Yeah. So they put her in this film as sort of a predecessor to Kate Beckinsale. Yes. If you see it, it makes sense.
It does. No, it totally makes sense.
I like this movie, man. I'm not gonna lie. I had a lot of fun with it. It's cheesy. It's very corny. I mean, and it takes place in an ancient time. So they have that very well, I want to say very proper way of speaking.
Yes.
Nobody says dad. They say father. Things like that. You when they say things like you betrayed me.
It's like, who says that?
Yeah, that kind of dialogue.
No one talks like that anymore.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it's very it's very stagey. The
no,
dialogue.
it definitely is.
Yeah.
But I mean, the entire series is like that, and if it weren't written like that, it wouldn't be the same movie. I mean, it's just one of the little quirks to being an Underworld movie. It's just a little over the top. Some of the movies more so than others. But
yes, very much. And this movie is over the top.
Oh, absolutely.
Let this bus pass back here. We're in New York, people recording this, by the way,
Yep.
so I'm letting. There's a lot of noise
It's always
outside.
loud.
Yeah, always loud. We
Yeah.
cannot find one spot in this office that is quiet.
I know.
But speaking of being over the top, this is directed by Patrick. Now, how you say his last name?
Tatopoulos.
Patrick Tatopoulos.
Yes.
Tessa was so happy. She's like, I know Greek and you don't know how to say this name. So I'm like, all right, fine, and bitch, you say it.
Okay. For clarification purposes, I don't know Greek, but I know how to say Greek last names. So
Okay, well,
that's
I don't apparently.
okay.
So he's a special effects guy.
Yeah.
This guy he was a director of special effects, I think, for iRobot, I Am Legend.
Yeah, a bunch of different movies.
He was special effects supervisor in all three of these Underworld movies.
Yeah.
So now he's risen to being the director.
The director.
Of this, yeah.
And you can definitely tell that like he has a special effects background because I really think they upped it for this movie. I mean, they brought their A game with this. I mean, some of the CGI was kind of iffy, but like it's pretty amazing looking.
There are scenes that are littered with werewolves.
Oh, yeah.
Really, they have swarms of werewolves.
It's insane.
Attacking this vampire fortress.
Yeah.
Stronghold, and it really on the big screen. It is amazing to look at.
It's really nice.
And Patrick Tadpolehead, he replaces what's his name, Lynn Wiseman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lynn Wiseman actually he directed the first two Underworlds,
yeah.
and he directed the fourth Die Hard movie.
Die Hard.
And he's also married to Kate Beckinsale.
Yes, he sure is.
That lucky motherfucker, man.
I know. There is a little bit of underworld drama though, because Kate Beckinsale
is a vampire and Lynn Wiseman is a werewolf.
Yeah, I wish. That's like dream life. No, but she actually had a kid with Michael Sheen back in 1999. Who she starred with in Underworld in 2003, and now she's married to the Underworld director. How drums is that?
Let the Underworld wars begin.
I know. You know what? Maybe that's what they based it off of. Maybe they based it off the love triangle that they had, and maybe that means Michael Sheen really is a Lycan.
I'll agree with you though. Some of the CGI. Because the movie floats between CGI and goddamn, now there's a subway going by.
Yeah.
Bunch of werewolves running on down beneath our feet.
That's exactly what it is. The rumble of the werewolves. I like how you do it like it's a little comedy act.
Yeah, little werewolves jump up. But no, these god damn it, that subway made me lose my concentration. Oh no, you're exactly right. There's a lot of CG in this movie mixed with practical effects. Yeah. So there are occasions where we get the really bad looking CG blood.
Yeah, that's about it though. I mean, really.
Yeah, but there's a lot of scenes where they use practical effects.
It was conventional stuff.
Yeah, you get to see werewolves get the top of their heads chopped off.
Yeah.
People getting impaled with giant arrows. So it's bottom line is it's not the greatest movie in the world. I mean, well, that really is let me say that over again because that's what people always say when they have nothing better to say.
Yeah.
It's not the greatest thing in the world. No, this movie is nothing new that we have seen.
Right.
It is a very typical slave story. It is Spartacus with vampires and werewolves.
Pretty much, yeah.
But there is something cool about seeing a slave rise up after you see him in the movie. I mean, they treat this poor guy Lucian in the movie. They treat him like Jesus, like from.
It's pretty true. Yeah.
From the Passion of the Christ. They beat the hell out this guy. They got.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
They don't just have whips. They got whips with knives at the end.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And when you see that happen, you're just like, I want this motherfucker to rise and kick some ass. So the story itself, it is the most basic framework that you can get.
But wait, hold on. You're forgetting one thing.
What?
That love scene. Hello. How ridiculous is that?
Oh, Michael Sheen and Rena, what's her name? Motra, whatever. Macadation nuts. They have this love scene where they don't just make love.
My God.
Get this. They show us three things. They make love with her kissing him on his nipples and on his hairy ass chest. Then
the collar. Oh,
and the collar. She's licking the collar.
It's crazy.
And then he has her pressed up against a pole.
Yeah, it's very like 70s porn style.
But that ain't enough. they got to push it to the limit. Those fools get on the edge of a cliff.
Oh my God.
And it's like it's almost like a ride at Six
Yeah.
Flags or something. Because they show Michael Sheen.
Oh, Jesus pose.
Oh yeah, he's leaning back on
Yeah?
the cliff and he's like, yeah.
It's ridiculous. I mean, I literally cracked up in the middle of the room. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the funniest thing I think I've ever seen.
He also had this look on his face, like either he was enjoying it or he's like had this look on his face, like this bitch is crazy.
I know, dude. Well, I mean, if you were like 2 inches from falling off a cliff, I think you'd have that look on your face too.
They are
Really?
having sex at the edge of a pit.
Yeah.
So he's looking
And
like.
it's like Grand Canyon pit. I mean, it's not like a little ditch in the road. It's
I know Michael
pretty
Sheen was like,
crazy.
"Somebody get this bitch off me before we fall." Help! But I would give this a matinee because you made a point earlier. You actually a very good point. Even now, if it hadn't been for the spectacle of this movie, I would probably say it's not that strong and maybe you should rent it. But it really is cool to look at.
It really is cool.
And I felt like I had a lot to root for. So I'm gonna give this movie a matinee.
Yeah, because the size of the screen, you're gonna see every little detail, and it is just shot beautifully. Plus, all those action sequences are pretty good on the big screen too. So
Yeah.
I give it a matinee too.
All right, good job there. I have to ask you a question though, because I know you're thinking this. Now, I hate to do this. I hate to bring race into everything we talk about, but you know you're thinking the same thing. We got all these villages in the movie looking like villages out of Transylvania. Like a Dracula or vampire or Dracula movie.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And all of them look like they belong, except they got the biggest, blackest dude walking out
I know.
of the woods.
What was with that?
It's like, where did they get him from?
He's like Michael Clark Duncan's twin.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. I mean, the voice and everything. Come on. When he opened his mouth, did you not laugh? I know I laughed.
No, I did. Because they asked him something. He's like, he's trying to be serious.
I don't think my voice is capable
He's trying to
of
be
doing
serious. That brother trying to act like he's Shakespeare.
Yeah.
He comes in like, are you lacking too? It's like, man, no, ain't no black people in Transylvania coming out the woods like that. You would be a monster to everybody else just by looking that way.
Dude, he's crazy looking. He would rip your head off.
Not even as a werewolf.
Yeah. Walking down the street, he would rip your head off.
Big black hands get a hold of you. And Tessa looking like, I like that. But no, I got a question to ask you. And this is going to seem kind of bad, but it's a valid question. If black people turn into werewolves, now wouldn't there fur be an afro all over the body? Can't you see a werewolf like with an afro picking like his chest hairs in his back? And don't look at me like that's wrong. You probably thinking that too. That's a valid ass question right there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's true. I mean, kind of as long as there's no soul glows involved. I mean, because
as long as we don't get
they got the animal oil in the skin, with the hair and stuff everywhere. Being a wolf.
Oh, that's a horror movie in itself.
Yeah, that is. It really is.
That should be. It should be. They should make another Underworld.
Yeah.
And it should be called
the spinoff.
It should be called Underworld 4. The werewolves with Jerry curls, dripping everywhere. Underworld 4, Jerry curl.
I'll kill you! All of you!
All right, now moving on to something that's totally unrelated to this movie. We're gonna put in this review anyway. As Tessa and I are walking to the subway. Now, in this subway, there's an escalator going up and there's an escalator going down. On our way down, we see this dude. It looks like his foot got caught in the escalator.
I really thought that his pant leg or a shoelace or something got caught, and he just falls onto the escalator, and all of us around were just paused.
See, you always hear those urban legends, and you always have those nightmares of your foot actually getting caught in the escalator and you can't escape. And I thought, oh shit, it's happening.
I know.
The escalator's eating this guy. But when the guy didn't panic, I didn't panic either. But he just started rolling on up, and there was in a mink coat. And she was trying to help him. It was like a horror moving away because she was trying to help him out.
And his hand sliding out of her hand because he's moving up the escalator.
His hand kind of just slipped out of her hand, and he just went on up. And she looked at me, and she's like, "There's a man who fell on the escalator." And I was like, "Oh,
as if we're not
shit.
seeing this go down already."
Yeah.
So it's we both kind of awkwardly stand there, not really knowing what to do.
And I'm looking at the guy, and the guy just kind of he's kind of you ever seen people body surf at a concert? It looks like this guy's doing it because he's on his back, but he's just kind of looking casual, oh, I can't get up. I guess I'll ride this thing out. Now I'm thinking, shit, I don't want to get involved, right? But this woman looked at me. I've already been seen, so I run up to the top of the escalator, and this guy just, at this point, he's not even on his back. He's just riding. He's like sitting there, almost like it's a ride at Disneyland or something. He's just sitting there, and he rides on up, and he gets to the top, and so I'm like, can you get up? And he's just looking at me like, well, you gonna pick me up? So I'm like, shit. So I pick up the guy. And I stand him up, and he's hard to stand up because I can't tell if he was having a medical problem or if he was drunk.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't saying anything.
It was hard to tell, yeah.
Yeah, and he just stood there, and I said, "Sir, are you okay? Are you all right?" And he just points at me like, "My shoe," because his shoe fell off. And I said, "Okay, all right."
Yeah.
And then I stood there and I said, "Okay, is everything all right?" And he just, and I was like,
yeah,
a thank you would be nice. I almost like threw his ass back down at the bottom, let him start all over again. Looked at his ass down while he was at the bottom of the escalator. Are you man? Are you liking? So somebody else like grabbed a hold of him. I was like, my job here is done.
Yeah, seriously.
So,
yeah, because by the time I got to the top, he was like, this guy awkwardly was taking his bag from him and like trying to court him out of the place. And like, you just kind of looked confused. He had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, no. And I looked at that bag and I was thinking about running off with that shit because obviously he's not going to chase me. Yeah. I mean, he can't even work his way up an escalator. You think he's going to be able to get me going down the escalator? So I looked at it, I was like, this brother ain't got nothing. Probably some hooch in his bag. And that's what caused this problem in the first place. So yeah, never a dull moment in the lovely city of New York, man.
In January of 2009,